Hello gardeners, welcome back to my channel, Garden a Little. Today we are just walking around cleaning up this space a little bit. It is fall time, it's time to start planting fall things. I will show you my failures and my successes. I just cleaned out my chicken coop. They are enjoying their new little space to be in. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So if you remember, I've started a few fall seeds like cauliflower and broccolis and such, and we had to go on a trip, and as you can see, my cabbage, although has survived, most of it has been eaten down by caterpillars. There was like a very sporadic attack, and as you can see, I just have sticks left. This is from my red cauliflower, so very sad story. Although not all is lost, I am still going to plant these. I don't know if they'll do okay or not, but we will see. I have planted some beets out and some lettuces out here, and as you can see, they are doing very well. I also planted some zucchinis for fall harvest, and they are doing amazing. Take a look at these guys. They have flourished and really made a point here. So I think I might get a few zucchinis before it's frost time. I've also planted cucumbers for a second harvest. Those are not doing too hot. Here are my cucumbers, and they are really not doing hot at all, kind of drying out. I am not sure if that's the variety that I planted, because it did exactly the same thing that it did on that trellis. As you can see, it's really dying down. And I've got maybe 2 or 3 good looking cucumbers from these plants. Unfortunately, it's hard to tell if it's the variety or the timing or the soil. So I think I'm going to experiment with the variety. I know I planted these cucumbers with the beans, so that might be a competition issue. But these cucumbers on this side, the only thing they have going for them was sunflower that I did cut down. So they should have flourished and come back and just produce a ton of cucumbers. But unfortunately, they didn't. So I think it might be the variety. However, I have not fertilized these guys as well, so it could be double jeopardy there. Regardless of how things look in the garden, it is time to prepare for the next thing, and the next thing is fall and then frost. Important thing is to look up when your first frost date is and just be prepared. You know, clean up your things, harvest things before that comes, because once the frost comes, everything in your garden that is very sensitive to cold dies and then becomes mushy and kind of disgusting. So what we're gonna do right now is harvest the rest of these tomatoes that are ready to harvest, peppers, and clean up these beans that I cut down at the root. So my chickens are gonna get a treat. Not too bad of a harvest in the middle of September. So now that this trellis is cleared off, I'm hoping that these peas will take off and produce some nice sweet and snap peas for us for this fall harvest. They should be able to survive a light frost. Not a hard freeze, but a light frost. And as you can see, they're already flowering, which is perfect. I'm still getting some ever-bearing strawberries to snack on. Beautiful. As far as my herbs go, I am trying to save the seeds, but if I don't get to save the seeds, like for example, I know I'm not going to be able to save these just because of time constraints. So I actually just rip this down and plop it down somewhere, and as you can see, they start sprouting just like that. So I'm gonna leave them be, let them sprout, and this piece of dill I'm actually gonna put right in that corner. And there's literally nothing special to it. You can bury this, or I actually just literally put this on the ground, cover it with some leaves, and let the nature do its thing. And I want the basil to do basically the same thing. I want them to go to seed, for seed to fall down and sprout next spring, just because I believe I'm actually out of basil seeds, and I have two different varieties, dwarf basil here, and I think this is just the regular green old basil. So I think it would be really nice to have this reseed and keep it going year after year. Parsley, I think it can survive pretty hard frosts. That's what I have here. This parsley is from 2 years ago. Did not plant anything else after that time. Oregano will stay here for like ever. Rosemary is surviving very nice. And then I have a fallen tomato over here. And look at this actually spider. These spiders are good for you in your garden, tomatoes especially, so I try not to touch them. But then there is my thyme growing over there, and it's kind of shaded by this fallen tomato, but soon enough I'll clean this out, and this thyme will thrive, and this will also be there literally forever. I will have to cut this back multiple times. Now that my corn is not in this bed, the squash has taken over. I've harvested 2 more big squash plants, and look, another one forming right over there. My corn experiment in this bed is doing okay. I have a few corn ears that have been kind of brewing and being produced, but otherwise this is kind of weeds, and then I planted some fall things throughout. So I don't know if this is the lost cause or not, but I'm just letting it be for now until I have enough time to clear it out. I'm gonna get out of the sun because it is toasty out there, but don't let that fool you because the nights are in the 50s, so it is perfect time to plant your starts that you started, the fall starts. I'm sad to say, but I think this is another fail for my fall garden this year. None of my seedlings really survived. Maybe just lettuce will thrive. It's kind of sad because I did put a lot of time into starting it and I was very excited about it, but it is what it is. I'm not giving up. I don't have any more starts, and I think it's too late for seeds, so I might just put this garden to bed early this year, but we'll see. Next on the list is to clean this garden up even more, cut things down, and start fertilizing my garden for next year. You should fertilize your garden every year. It has been about 2 years since I fertilized my garden last, like heavy fertilization with compost and new bedding and things like that. So that's what I'm gonna be doing at the end of this year. I have good friends and family that own cattle and they have compost forming that way, so I will be borrowing some of their compost to put into my garden, and next year this place will be flourishing, bigger, better, and more beautiful. I hope I inspired you guys to grow your own food. I share my failures, I share my successes. The purpose of all of that is to inspire all of us and empower us to grow our own food, experiment, fail, succeed, learn, and keep going. So I hope you go garden a little, and I'll see you guys on next time. Bye.